Hello, welcome to my studio. These are these two HP1300A monitors. This one is the one that we replaced the tube on. Dave Jones helped me pull out the old tube and put this new guy in. This one's a little older. You can see there's a little bit of crud on some of the components. This one looks a little newer. It is beautiful. Everything inside it, even the transformer and everything underneath, it all looks really pristine and beautiful. I soldered on a IEC cable here because it was like this old style connector. Or maybe not old style, this style. Doesn't look like a US connector. And this one, I just remembered we pulled all the fuses to put in the other one, so this one doesn't have any fuses, so obviously it's not going to work. Dave thought that maybe this power transformer, or some of these power transformers, could have been blown, and he said this one in particular, so I unscrewed it and then realized these are just socketed, so I'm going to pull all of those, replace the fuses and replace them, and who knows, maybe it'll work. But this one, it powers up and it works, but I want to show you what's wrong with it. It's a little funky. So I got my modular synth hooked up, and it's there's a video mixer coming into the modular, and then it is rasterizing a video signal on this analog scope. So there's a camera hooked up to the analog scope. It's going up to the TV. So I'm using it for this, red etra kind of stuff, with the displacement and all of that kind of fun business. Whatever is visible on the analog scope is also going over to this stroke to raster converter. It's just digitizing that analog signal and doing the same thing with it. So I'm going to unplug the connectors from the analog scope. Here is X. I'm going to take X and hook it up to the HP. I got Y coming off the analog scope. That's going over to the HP. And Z is coming off the analog scope. That is going over to Z on the HP. Let me shut this thing off so it doesn't burn. So now we can fire up the HP. Usually takes a second to warm up. Come on, buddy. Sometimes if I jiggle the, there we go, here it comes. Alright, so here is the deal with this thing. Let me shut this light off. Cool. And then I'm going to bring the stroke to raster converter over so we can compare the images. So here's the signal that the synth is putting out, and this is the signal that I've got on the HP. There are some gain controls and position controls on the back. The y-axis seems fine, by the way. It's just that the x-axis seems a little funky. So I'll move this guy over here. I'm going to change the position trimmer for the x-axis, and see, it can only go right to the center line and then all the way over to the right. So it looks like it's not offset, but it's chopping any negative signal. And here's what the gain control does. You can see it's just changing the gain for the signal. And then here is position again. Here, I'll let you, I'm trying to let you see the whole screen. This is what position does. Just to the center line and then all the way to the right. I'll do it with a little simpler signal so you can see too. It seems like it's working okay. Like, oh, it does this every once in a while. The y-axis gets noisy. You can see, you know, when I do like these, like the offset things or the displacement stuff with the Radetra, it's happening on the HP too, and it looks kind of nice. I'll give it some more gain. You can see it just gets crushed at the center line. It's clipping right against the center line. With a simple signal, I'll just give it a quadrature or sine wave. Here, so you can see both. On the stroke to raster, right, you can see the signal, it's just like a nice sine wave, but on the HP, it's like this weird crushed kind of sine wave. It also, you can see that the beam isn't a dot either. The beam is like this little kind of chunky square. Here it is with this is the focus control. It can turn into this gigantic thing. That's about as good as it can get. Intensity. Even playing with all the controls, playing with all the trimmers, that's sort of the best I can get. So I messed with a couple other things too. Whoops. I'll put a sine wave back up there. So again, you know, here's my test signal. And that's what I'm getting on the monitor. I messed around with this is the 100-volt supply trimmer. It just can move it a very little bit. And then there's also another trimmer on the X deflection amplifier. And that changes the position a bit, but here it is. That's as far as it can go, just right there. So, you know, obviously it looks like it's clipping on the negative. So here's a suspicious Q1 down there. Looks like a suspicious component. The transistor looks like it's knocked over. All the legs are still connected, but that, you know, that obviously looks like it may be damaged somehow. Here's what it looks like inside, right? This is the trimmer I was playing with before on the power supply. And here's the other one right there. I was turning that trimmer. These look like they are high frequency filters or something like that. This board in the back is impedance, an impedance adapter or something like that. And those are the position and gain controls I was playing with on the x-axis. So this impedance board is not present on this other guy. It doesn't even have it at all. It looks like a much simpler design actually. So who knows, maybe that board isn't even needed. And also on the back you can see they left some little stickers on here. AC and DC, the switch doesn't seem to make any difference with the signals that I'm giving it. I've tried both. And I've adjusted some of these things using internal or external, messing with all the Z controls too. It has a little calibrating oscillator there too, or calibrating pulse. So it says there's no terminator on the X, and I don't really understand what they mean by that, because over here it says 50 ohm terminator. So maybe that could be something, but I'm not really sure what all that's about. And also, I don't want to mess with this thing because these are gigantic caps, and this is a plus minus 100 volt supply, and I don't really feel like I have the skills to mess with that. and the transformer beneath is 3,000 volts, and I definitely should not be messing with that. So I don't know. What do you think? Could it be this? Could it be this transistor? Maybe I'll take some pictures of the schematics and show you where all that stuff is. And again, this one, I might just be able to fix this one. I'm going to replace these fuses. I'm going to replace all these, what are they, 2N3055s. I'll just pull them all and replace them, and maybe this one will work. It looks nicer anyway. Okay, take care. Thanks.